Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I'm here to tell you that it has never been easier to start your very own podcast. At Mission Matters, our goal is to amplify stories that matter. That means we want to help you start your podcast because your story matters. We can do this in 3 different ways. 1, join our podcast school and take a free or paid course. 2, visit our resources page where we've already figured out what you need, such as where to host your podcast. Or 3, heck, we can even do everything for you through our podcast agency, including editing for cheaper than you can do in-house. Oh, and no contracts, service is month to month. Get started by heading over to missionmatters.com and click on Start a Podcast. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Fitness Podcast, your source for all things fitness. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Come an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Robert Magrino on the line. He's CEO and founder over at aquablastfit.com. Rob, welcome to the show.
Hi, Adam. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so you have officially the coolest LinkedIn banner that I've ever seen. I was looking at this when I'm looking at your profile. I'm like, what is this guy kicking in the water? Like, this looks such fun. I don't know what it is, but I want to kick it. And then you're like, oh, this is the product that I invented. So I'm excited to get into what you're doing over at aquablastfit.com, how it works, and, you know, the benefits of what's going on. But before we do that, I want to go a little bit further in your background. So before aquablastfit.com came about, how'd you get started in your career?
Well, I started off, actually went to Ohio State University, and I was an Army officer for about 6 years or so. And after I got out of the military, I kind of went into computer training and did a little bit of that. And finally, I ended up into clinical research, where I was testing new drug development for over in Dayton, Ohio. And, I had been doing that for about 13 years or so.
So, Rob, I got to say, from like all of your background to this point does not look like the guy that starts aquablastfit.com. Tell me how this came about, because this is exciting. And there's a lot of inventors, would-be inventors on here right now, and they're like, wait a minute, this is a fitness podcast. Well, who did Adam bring on this thing? Like, they're go for it, Rob.
So
tell us the backstory.
He's unrelated, right? But so I was an avid athlete, avid football. I played softball quite a bit. And I ended up one day, I was in right field throwing down at the home plate to make this beautiful home, play at the plate, and I threw out my shoulder. And what I ended up doing was, I tore up one of my ligaments up there, ACL. And I ended up going into aquatic therapy to try to, for my recovery, my rehabilitation. And in my backyard pool back in Ohio, I started working out with these 1-gallon milk jugs, those plastic milk jugs with a handle on them. I filled them up with water, and, a gallon of water is about 8 pounds, so they're good resistance weights for the swimming pool. So I was using those things to kind of rehabilitate my shoulder, and then one day I was starting to tinkering around with it, and I emptied out some of the water and put some air in it, and I realized that the milk jug floated in the water, and I punched and the walls of it sort of caved in a little bit, and it didn't hurt. So that got me thinking. And I went ahead and cobbled together a little prototype from basically all these materials from the hardware store. And I made this big red, kind of ugly-looking bag, but I wanted to prove that this thing actually worked. And that's how it all got started. It was in a swimming pool back in Ohio to help recover from a shoulder injury.
Man, this is a great story. I'm like, because I was looking, I'm like, oh yeah, this makes sense. I see exactly. No, this is awesome. And what I love about inventions like this and products like this is that if somebody created it to help themselves and they found great value in it and they went through the trouble of bringing the product to market, and this stuff, it's not easy. Then not only does it work, but it's of value to others, and they're going to find an interesting product too. So tell us a little bit more about the product and kind of how it works and where you're at with it.
Yeah, so I officially launched Aquablast in July of 2020, just a couple months ago. And it's basically what it is. It's a water-filled underwater punching bag and multi-purpose exercise device for swimming pools and for swim spas. So a swim spa is one of those types that has a current that comes at you, and you can throw the bag into it. But it's water-filled, so this thing weighs about 50 pounds, and it contains about 6 gallons of water. So 6 gallons of water is about 50 pounds. And it has a little air chamber on the top that allows it to float on the surface of the water. So it's in the perfect position in a swimming pool for punching and kicking. So it's kind of like a small heavy bag that sits in the swimming pool, and it's just suspended in the water.
Yeah, I think that's a great description. Like if you think about a heavy punching bag for the listeners, because, audio is not always the easiest. So just imagine this. There's a punching bag that's kind of submerged under the water a little bit. It's floating around there, and you punch it. It doesn't hurt, but it looks to me like it's also a great stress reliever. There's also a lot of business people watching this right now. Like, I just want to punch it. It looks fun.
Yeah, in fact, so it's really easy to set up because it just takes like 6 seconds. You fill it up with water from the swimming pool, and it floats right there at the surface, so you can just punch and kick away at it. And it's soft and flexible, so you can actually, you can nail it with your bare hands. You can also put like neoprene gloves on and bat around with it for quite a while. But it provides a really good overall workout for upper, lower body, and core for physical fitness. And it's also very good for rehabilitation because that's how I got started with it. And I was using it for my shoulder injury. And since then, I've had it looked at by the Aquatic Rehabilitation Therapy Institute. And they like the bag. The Aquatic Exercise Association has also taken a look at it. And a number of aquatic physical fitness trainers and therapists have also reviewed it and really like it. So I'm onto something, I think, and I just have to kind of get it out there now.
What kind of response have you received from some of the people that are using it? Have you had? I know you're just launching. I'm just curious about if you've gotten any feedback yet for some of the users.
Well, I think a lot of people like it because it's really portable. So it folds up and it goes into a small bag that you can take anywhere with you. So, I've taken this device, Aquablast, to the beach, but I typically take it to anywhere there's a swimming pool. So I can take it to the health health facility where it has a swimming pool. I'll take it on vacation with me. And I've actually taken this bag to places like India and the Caribbean, places I've traveled to, because it just fits in my suitcase and I can just take it with me.
No, that's one of the things that I liked about it the most when I seen kind of like the product description, I seen the way it worked. It's like, oh, this makes so much sense. And you could literally put in a backpack. So if somebody's like, hiking, something else like that, it's small. Like it doesn't take up too much space.
Right. It is very convenient to take with you because it has a carry case and it just comes as one unit, real small and easy to work with. So and actually it's really nice because there's a lot of interest nowadays in kickboxing and mixed martial arts, and most people aren't really ready to get into the ring, but here's a bag you can just take into your swimming pool and just bat away at it and have fun with it. It's been, people have been using it for fitness and for group training, the rehabilitation, but the recreation side is also a neat part of it because it's just fun to use. So you can actually punch it, kick it, you can lift it, throw it, and you can even stand on it. So if you take the air out of the upper chamber and just let it sink, it'll sit on the pool floor and you can actually do kind of like a log roll on it, or you can do little step ups on that. So it's really good for people possibly with balance issues, and anybody that is trying to recover from particular injuries. It provides a low impact way to exercise.
So tell me, what's next on this path for marketing and getting Aquablast out to the masses? So tell us about what's next on the horizon for Aquablast.
So I've got a couple of ways I'm approaching this. First of all, I've got one size, and that's it. I'm a one-person operation right now. I developed this one size, the 6-gallon, 25-liter version, and I'm also thinking about a much bigger version, a smaller version, a rounder version. They all work off the same concept, off of my patent and my design. And I think that I can actually, over time, produce a number of these different variations of the same, the bag with just different sizes. In addition, I'm also working on a very innovative tethering system. Now, one of the issues with Aquablast is if you punch it and you're in the middle of the pool, the bag will just start drifting away. It'll just drift to the other side of the pool, in fact. And so what I'm working on is a floor-mounted tethering system that was attached to the bottom of your pool floor, and it would just sit stationary in the middle of your swimming pool. So you would be able to just kind of punch it, and as it drifts, the tether will kind of pull it back into place. The air chamber at the top of it will also cause it to come back into a ready position again. And that way you can kind of punch it and kick it and sort of dance around the bag in the swimming pool, kind of like a boxer dancing around their opponent in the ring. So that's kind of the best way I can describe that. So if you tether it in the middle of the pool floor, you can just begin, doing a workout, which involves a lot of side steps, a lot of punches, a lot of kicks, a lot of throws, a lot of lifts, and you can really get a full body workout and really get a pretty intense workout with it.
Oh, that's awesome. I feel like this, I can't wait to see you on Shark Tank with this thing, man. This is like one of those products that I'm like, man, this guy's going to be on Shark Tank and be all these things. I'm like, I remember when Rob was on my show back in the day when he still talked to us podcasters. That's good. That's awesome. I love it. I love this idea, I like the concept. I love your vision for it, and I love that you're already like just improving the product, thinking of other things, going to take that feedback and continue to grow with this. So I love it. It's a great story. I'm happy to bring it to my audience. So Rob, if somebody's listening to this and they want to learn more about Aquablast, they want to connect, they want to buy one, all these good things, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, they can visit my website, which is aquablastfit.com, and check out the Aquablast, the ultimate underwater punching bag.
Fantastic. Well, Rob, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background in this entrepreneurial venture. So I think it's awesome what you're doing. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Fitness, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments in the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Rob, thanks again for coming to the show.
Thanks, Adam.